We're now on Chapter 9 of Access Administering a Database System. Now, for this section, this chapter is very, very easy. Getting you ready for Chapter 10, the hard one, but y'all do great. And anyhow, this chapter mainly talks about different things you can do with a database to make it more convenient or more user-friendly, or to be able to put it out in different shapes or different forms for different people. The end of the chapter is very, 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 very important that you read that. It has you doing no work on it, but everything in there deals with web and several other things that are important, and I'll talk briefly about that when we get to the end. But make sure that you read the last third of the chapter. Now on page 543, the first thing I want you to do is to go to File and Save As. Now the purpose of this is so that you can see you can save this database down to previous database formats. So we have the choice of Access 2000 and Access 2002 and 2003, so that somebody who has those versions of Access can still use your databases. However, unfortunately, with the macros that we wrote in the last chapter, it won't let us do it. But I want to go through the steps just so you know how to do this. So if we're going to save down to another version, you would do File, Save As, and then choose which version you want to change it to. So let's say we wanted to go to Access 2002, and then we would hit Save As. And if we didn't have the macros, at that point we would have come up with a screen that would allow us to type in the name of what we're saving it as. And it would be wise at the end of it, maybe put your Bavant Publishing, but at the end put like -2002, whatever version you've saved it down, so it's really easy to notice and to grab if you're trying to send it to somebody. So in this case we can't do that, and we're just going to say okay, and that is one less thing that you have to turn into me. So you will not be turning that in. Now on page 544, we're going to use the analysis tools to make sure that everything is working, and also to make sure that it's done in the most convenient or the most logical manner. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have your Bavant Publishing open. Then you want to close your navigation pane. Go to your Database Tools tab. Now, do you see the Analyze section? We are going to use all three of those right now, one at a time. The first one we want to choose is Analyze Table. Now, this information here tells you exactly what each one does. We are going to find any place where duplicating might cause a problem or where it's inefficient. So you can see here in the example that the same address is done over and over and over. And notice also here a supplier name is misspelled. So the table analyzer will find things like that. So hit Next. And here it tells you a little more about how it solves the problem, but basically it splits the table and it takes all the information and put it into two separate tables. Putting in here, they put the supplier ID, supplier, and the address in a supplier table, and they made a separate products table. And you always have your choice to say no, I don't want to do this. Now we get to choose which table we want to analyze. We want to analyze the customer table. So click on Customer and hit Next. We will let the wizard decide what to do, so hit Next. And now it shows us it feels that we should split our table into two sections, mainly because the city, state, and zip will be the same for many customers. And so you have it duplicated over and over and over in the customer table. Now you never have to do what it says, and in this case we are not going to do this. So we will hit Cancel. But there is something I want to show you. If you chose to do this and you accepted it just like it is, you would hit Next, which we're not doing. Also, if you chose to do this but wanted to add something to us, so let's say maybe you wanted to move the book rep number over to the table 2, you could grab that and just move it over there. So whatever you do, you still have control. You do not have to do what the program suggests that you do. And as you can see, you can move everything around. Now, we are not going to hit next. We will hit cancel because we are going to leave it exactly the way it is. Now, turning the page, we are on page 546 now to use the Performance Analyzer. Now, the Performance Analyzer looks at the database's tables, queries, reports, forms, and other objects, trying to find a way to make it more efficient for the database operations. So we want to click on Analyze Performance. And notice that we have several tabs, and you can choose one at a time, and you can choose one table at a time if you would like. But in this case, we are going to do Select All. So click on Select All. It's going to select all of our tables, and then we're going to say OK. Now we have a yellow light bulb. That means that this is an idea. If it's a suggestion, it's more important that you do it. If it's a recommendation, you probably should do that. Alright, now like before, everything is your choice of whether or not to do that. In this case, in the customer table, it found that our postal code is short text, and the computer recommended that it should be long integer. And the same thing with book rep number. Now, if you remember from the very beginning, I've said that if you're not going to do any mathematical functions on your numbers, it is better to make it short text. So in this case, postal code and book rep number, neither one will have mathematical functions performed on it, so we are going to leave that at short text. So we're going to hit close. Alright, next one, the document database, the database documenter. Now what's cool about this is that it shows you all the information about whatever you select, every single piece of information. And for this, I want you to go ahead and save it as a PDF when we're finished and attach that to your assignment. So page 548, click on Database Documenter, and they want us to choose the customer table. We're really picking on the customer table today. Select all. Oops. Customer table only. So sorry. Then say OK. Now, we see our customer table, and this is all the information about it. This is the properties for the entire table. Also the columns for the table. Customer number, short text, size 5. So you can see all of your settings. You can make sure that each one is set correctly. Short name, short text, and set at 30. You can make sure everything lines up. It's also a great way for me to grade stuff. Only thing is, it would take forever if I did this on everything y'all did. So I just go through your stuff and check each one. Now also notice that it tells you exactly the address of where that database is saved, which is great. If it's a database you create and then don't use again for many years, you'll still have this paperwork hopefully, and you'll be able to find where you saved it if you don't have a consistent place. It's very, very interesting and we like it. So we are going to PDF, go to the data section, and we're going to do PDF or XPS. Now, if that does not work for you, go ahead and try this, but if it doesn't work, you can try it as a text file, which that should work for everybody. And if that doesn't work, you can try it as an Excel file, which that will work for everybody. PDF or XPS is what I prefer though. So click on PDF, navigate to the directory where you have everything saved, and we are going to save this as document database documenter, your last name, first initial, underscore, documenter, And go ahead and put down that it's chapter 9 just to make sure. And then you'll notice we have minimum size. Go ahead and leave it at minimum because I will never print this out. I will grade it online, and your computer only shows so much, and there's no sense wasting the file space if you're not going to print it. So hit publish, and do not save your export steps. Hit close, and then you should have your database document formatter. And just so you can see what it looks like, you go to your drive, and there you go. Alright, as a PDF. Alrighty then. So next thing we want to do is click on Close Print Preview to close that. Next thing we're going to do then is on page 549. In this we are just going to customize our navigation pane. So if you want to create some new groups or get rid of existing groups, this is where you would do that. On page 549, the second bullet says to right click on this title right here, your All Access Objects title. Right click, choose Navigation Options, and here you can see what is already in our, and I can't show you, what is already in our navigation choices. So we can sort it by categories, table and related views, by object types, and custom, which there is nothing right now. Alright, that's how it's already set up in there. Now we want to add item in the categories section. And for that, we are going to name it Financial Items. That's page 550, the fourth bullet. So, Financial Items. And then, since we have a new category, we can add our groups. Notice that unassigned objects is there already. We leave that because we don't have anything assigned to this group yet. So everything will be stuck in unassigned objects until we move it. Hit Add Group, and the first group is going to be Detailed, and then add another group, and that will be Summary. Click on OK. Now you can see what you've done by clicking on the down arrow next to your All Access Objects, and you can see your Financial Items category. So click on that, and now you see our three groups that are new. And notice that, watch when I collapse this, everything is unassigned objects for now. So I'm going to expand that out, and then we will be able to move things into this category, these categories. Now there's two different ways to do it. The first one, State Rep Crosstab, is going to go into the Summary group. So since it's closed, I'm going to show you my shortcut way because I like shortcuts. State Rep Crosstab, you can grab that, drag it up to Summary. Notice now Summary is highlighted. Let it go, and now it is in my Summary category. And when I select that, it closes it and opens it. Alright, so it's really easy to grab and drag, but if everything is down here at the bottom and you have to scroll down, that's kind of a pain. So I'm going to show you how to deal with that also. So looking at page 552, figure 921, we will move everything into the Detailed and Summary section just like it is in the picture. So in the Detailed section, the first one is Book Rep Master Form. And notice that it has a red thumbnail, the picture of our form. So we can slide down here and you see your forms. Notice the thumbnail. And we want the Book Rep Master Form. Now, this is clear down here and my categories are clear up here. So clicking and dragging would not be very beneficial. It'd be kind of a pain. So we're going to right click on Book Rep Master Form, and notice that here we have Add to Group, and we will choose the detailed group there. Notice that it popped us up here, and Book Rep Master Form is now found in the detailed category. Cool. The next one is Customer Financial Form, and notice that it has the red thumbnail, so we go down to those, and we have Customer Financial Form, right click, Add to Group, and Detailed. Then Customer Master Form, slide down, right click, Add to Group, and Detailed. Now notice the thumbnails on the next two are green. Those are reports. So we slide down to the reports, and the first one is Customer Financial Report. So right click, Add to Group, and Detailed. And the last one in the detailed group is Discount Report. So slide down and right click on the Discount Report, Add to Group, and Detailed. Excellent. So now we have all of the detailed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 forms, 2 reports. Excellent. Now we still have one more in the summary section, and that will be the Rep Seminar Data Form. Notice it's got a red thumbnail, so we're going to slide down to the forms, and we want Rep Seminar Data. So right click, Add to Group, and that is going to be in the summary group. Okay, so you learned how to grab and drag, and you also learned how to right click it. There's our detailed, there's our summary, and here's our unassigned collapsed. So those are what we just moved. That is the end of this section, so we will take a small break, and when we come back we will work with database properties.